Whether you want to wind off after a stressful day at work, spend some quality time with friends, meet new people with similar interests online, or simply enjoy a unique storyline through active gameplay, video games are your answer. Understandably, the popularity of gaming has a lot to do with the companies responsible for developing these games. However, the best games don't necessarily come from the most beloved publishers, and Blizzard is the perfect example of that. In fact, not only are gamers staying away from Blizzard lately, but they're actually turning it into the most hated gaming company. So what happened to this video game giant, and where's all the hate coming from? How could such a massive industry name fall so low in the eyes of avid gamers and casuals alike? Let's unveil Blizzard's downfall and see where it all went wrong.
We hope you have as much fun playing it as we did making it. And once again, on behalf of the game team, thank you all and see you in hell.
Let's travel back in time to 1991, when Blizzard Entertainment, originally named Silicon and Synapse, was founded by three friends and fellow gamers, Alan Adam, Michael Morhaime, and Frank Pierce, as a game software development company based in Irvine, California. For 3 years, the powerful trio worked hard to create various software solutions that would be used to support video games created by other video game development companies. Still, Silicon and Synapse was nothing more than a third-party developer for the time being. During these years, Silicon and Synapse collaborated with some of the leaders in the industry, including Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and contributed to major game titles at the time, such as The Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, The Death and Return of Superman, and Rock and Roll Racing. However, it wasn't until 1994 that the company reached truly incredible levels of success. The year was 1994, and it marked a turning point for the company for a couple of reasons. First, Silicon and Synapse changed its name to Blizzard Entertainment, a name that's much more familiar even to the most casual gamers today. Second, the company released its first game title, none other than the famous Warcraft. This was the first edition of Warcraft, officially named Warcraft Orcs and Humans. It was considered one of the best releases of the year and immediately set Blizzard Entertainment to success. In a time when multiplayer games were still relatively new, Warcraft came in as a true breath of fresh air to the gaming community. Featuring a landscape ruined by war between orcs and humans, the quasi-medieval Azeroth kingdom, and a large range of classes and characters, Warcraft truly brought something new to the table. Even so, the game wasn't mainstream yet and was popular only amongst enthusiasts of the fantasy game genre. 4 years later, in 1998, Blizzard Entertainment released another hit game, StarCraft. By this time, Warcraft had already paved the way for multiplayer games, even though StarCraft included some new features that have become staples of real-time strategies since then. The overly positive reception of the new release ultimately led to StarCraft receiving numerous awards and being labeled the best real-time strategy game ever made. However, that's not where Blizzard Entertainment stopped. As you probably know, the company has yet another classic title under its belt, Diablo. For this one, we'll have to reverse a bit and go back to 1995. Blizzard was preparing for the development of a new game, but its team was already preoccupied with Warcraft and the upcoming StarCraft. That's why Blizzard acquired Condor Inc., another California-based game development company, and renamed it Blizzard North. Essentially, Blizzard North was responsible for the development of Diablo, which would finally see the light of day in 1996, approximately 2 months behind schedule. It was around this time that Blizzard also released Battle.net, an online service that allowed more people to play Diablo with each other. The success of Diablo didn't disappoint, despite its delayed launch, since it was the best-selling game of 1997. Multiplayer games were slowly but surely becoming all the rage, and Blizzard Entertainment played a big part in popularizing these games, as well as providing players with amazing titles year after year. It seemed like there was nothing that could stop Blizzard, as the company was on a winning streak. Yet another huge success marked the legacy of Blizzard Entertainment, and that's when the company released its first MMO, World of Warcraft. WoW was huge from day one, selling more than 280,000 copies just on the first day. Fans were crazy about trying Blizzard's take on MMO, especially considering that it carried the title of an extremely successful game franchise. Although the expectations for the success of WoW were pretty high to begin with, no one imagined that it would become the most popular video game ever. World of Warcraft broke all previous sales records and quickly gained 1.5 million subscribers in North America before conquering the European and Asian markets. Soon enough, WoW became synonymous with the MMO game genre, and no other titles came close to competing with Blizzard's famous release. To get a better sense of just how popular WoW was among gamers, it's enough to say that the game had around 250,000 players logged into its Battle.net online server at the same time. Nevertheless, things started to change once Activision acquired Blizzard Entertainment, as two extremely successful game publishers, Activision and Blizzard Entertainment, merged in 2008, forming Activision Blizzard, one of the largest video game companies in the world. Although the goal of the merger was to create a powerful game developing company that would release some of the best titles with impressive graphics, flawless controls, and moving storylines, the reality was completely different. While the merger seemed like a good and promising idea initially, Activision Blizzard quickly lost its untarnished reputation after the merger. The main reason for that were the countless scandals surrounding Bobby Kotick, the company's CEO. From the reports of sexual misconduct in the workplace to critically panned releases, various accusations seemed to roll in one after another.
There's an article today that paints an inaccurate and misleading view of our company, of me personally, and my leadership.
Naturally, the accusations eventually led to California filing a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. After a 2-year investigation, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing accused the famous video game company of promoting a culture of unequal pay between male and female employees, constant sexual harassment of workers, and retaliation. Women make up around 20% of Activision Blizzard's employee population, and many of them accused male employees of openly joking about rape, passing off responsibilities to them so they could slack off, and even getting drunk on the job and sexually harassing female employees. Unfortunately, that's not all. Many female employees claimed they were denied promotions simply because they might get pregnant in the future and go on maternity leave. Although women were the primary targets, no one was safe in the toxic and unsafe working environment, so hundreds of existing employees staged a walkout. Diablo III is the third installment in the popular Diablo franchise and was released in 2012 for Microsoft Windows and OS X, in 2013 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, in 2014 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and 2018 for Nintendo Switch. Considering that Diablo II was released in 2000, the fans were more than eager to play the newest installment. Just like the previous two games, Diablo III would have players working their way through hordes of enemies in large levels to finally face and defeat the Lord of Terror, Diablo. Sadly, the game seemed downgraded compared to its predecessors. For instance, the fans were disappointed with the size and scope of the game. Most of them assumed Diablo III included a bigger or more complex map, especially since it took over 10 years for Blizzard to finish the game. However, it was quite the opposite. The game came with a relatively linear map that included very few caves and dungeons for the players to explore. Moreover, the storyline of Diablo III was too short and too predictable. The team spent more than 4 years of their time writing a unique and engaging story, but they failed to deliver. As a result, fans all around the world were extremely disappointed, not only in Diablo, but in Blizzard as well. The disappointment didn't stop there. Another major miss was Warcraft Reforged, which was Blizzard's attempt to remaster Warcraft III: Reign of Chaos alongside its expansion, The Frozen Throne. Released in 2020, Warcraft Reforged was set to revamp graphics, add new campaign gameplay settings, and incorporate online Battle.net features. The fans were confused from the very beginning because it wasn't clear whether Warcraft Reforged was a remaster or a remake. The numerous misalignments and the overall unclear vision led to other issues relating to the game, such as communication difficulties within the team and disagreements about the features and the scope of the game. Having that in mind, it's not surprising to hear that Warcraft Reforged was considered a failure by fans. Blizzard Entertainment, now going by Activision Blizzard, was the leading company for developing computer games ever since the dawn of modern video games. The company seemed to be not 1 or 2 but 5 steps ahead of its competitors, which enabled it to dominate the market quite easily. Somewhere along the way, though, Activision Blizzard lost touch with its fans. Not only were fans getting poorly designed and developed games, but the company seemed to be involved in much bigger issues. Between the numerous lawsuits filed by former employees and countless lies spread by the executives, fans generally lost the connection they once had with the company. Right now, not many gamers trust Activision Blizzard. Whether the company will go back to its old ways remains to be seen. What do you think about Activision Blizzard? What was the turning point, and what could have prevented this from happening? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.